Hey everybody, Ben, Summerville Gardener, and today I am planting out a bunch of stuff that got destroyed from the winter storm we had. Not everything's getting a one-for-one replacement, but I'm gonna do what I can and maybe mix things up a little bit. Ooh, and check this out. Two things. One, I don't think I have to wait any longer to see which one of these is gonna be the strawberry guava and which one's gonna be the lemon guava, because I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna fruit out for me and I'll be able to tell by the end of the year, and then I can take them out of these nursery pots and put them out. Well, one of them gets put out in my yard, the other one gets put out in a neighbor's yard. I told them a long time ago they could have the lemon guava because they said they like lemon guavas, and I may have bought the wrong kind. It happens, so I share. The other bad thing, yep, I'm seeing some Japanese beetles already. Get out of there, guy. I know it's strange to think of cannas to be a trap crop, but I bet you if I look over here at my cannas, yep, there's one of the little boogers right there. I'll be bringing a bucket of soapy water out to help that guy learn how to swim, or not swim. I do use the cannas as a trap crop though for those Japanese beetles. And like I said, bucket of soapy water, just pop them in. So what am I doing out here today? Some of the things I'm gonna be planting out is gonna be this blueberry right here. This is a Brightwell blueberry. I know nothing about this blueberry. I just saw it, didn't recognize the name. I don't have one of those yet, so I got that one. I picked up this rhubarb just because, well, I like rhubarb sometimes, and I've never tried to grow it on my own. But that does look awful tasty. I couldn't find an Indian sweet lime, but I did find this Persian lime, which is gonna be a replacement for my Indian sweet lime. Hopefully it does a little bit better. The Owari Satsuma, this is gonna be a direct replacement for the Owari Satsuma that, after 3 years in the ground, failed last year. I decided to try out a mulberry. This is a dwarf ever-bearing mulberry. Hopefully it doesn't get too tall. I'm okay with about 15 or 20 feet. I have a hard time passing up mint and found this peppermint. It smelled delightfully like candy canes, so I figured I'd grow a little bit more of this in my mint hill. Oh yeah, it really is. It's like candy canes. I think this just became my new favorite mint. I can't wait to try this on different meals and different foods. Maybe put this in a mojito. Never had a mojito before. Might have to try one now. This is another direct replacement. This is going to be the methyl plum. Yes, the methyl plum. This again is going to be a direct replacement. I'm going to grow this one a little bit different than its predecessor. That's the one that was way over there that I knew it died. I killed it. I put it in the wrong spot. I planted it wrong. I did a lot of thinking. I did bad stuff. I learned. That's the important part. And then possibly the sweetest plant of them all here is this nice little grassy plant here and its brother here, or sister, whichever it is. This is a Don Cinco sugar cane, and this is a Florida red sugar cane. See, I told you, sweet plants. I'm not exactly sure where they're gonna go though. They are not a replacement for anything. I've just always wanted to have sugar cane. My hope is eventually to be able to make my own fruit syrups using my own sugar cane. Sugar cane, a little bit of blueberries, a little bit of heat. Maybe some blackberry syrup, fig syrup. Not sure if there's such a thing as loquat syrup, but hey, we can try. So let's grab, oh hey, this one was gonna go in one of those holes that I had in a previous video. And I think what I'm gonna do first is just set all this stuff up. This right here, the big hole, that's where that blueberry was going, because it just makes sense. I want to call this a Bardwell. I've been watching too many Joshua Bardwell videos on YouTube lately. Brightwell, the Brightwell blueberry, right next to the Bountiful Delight, which is so unaptly named. It's not bountiful at all. Then there's the Rabbit Eye over here and the Jersey right there. Kind of have a nice little row going here on the outside. Continuing over here by the punting pole bamboo is the Austin blueberry, the Sunshine blueberry, and the Powder Blue blueberry. Pretty sure I got all those right. And there are blueberries on this one. Gotta give it a taste. That one was sour. Can't end it on a sour note. This one looks pretty good. Maybe this little guy here. If you pop 3 in your mouth at the same time, one of them is bound to be sweet and overpower the other ones. Ooh, there's a nice dark one. Ooh, a couple more over here. Let's hear. That should be a good little mix. And these are the Sunshine blueberries. Definitely a sour one in there somewhere. Ooh, I don't think any of those are ready. Maybe it just needs watered more. That's probably what it is. Okay, got the blueberry over there. The methyl plum here. Let's see here. Let's hold off on this one. Mulberry. This one is gonna go by the flagpole. And when I say flagpole, I mean the bird pole. Another good video if you haven't seen that one. And it's gonna go right here where I got the stick. I want it right there. Because I wanna be able to encourage the mulberries to grow right next to the bird feeder and the bird baths so the birds help me eat all the mulberries. No, it sounds strange. I actually plan to have birds eating a lot of my food. I gotta share. That is one good thing that I try and do is share with the wildlife. Now the Persian lime, where are we gonna put this one? I almost want to put this one right back where the other lime tree was, but that lime tree is putting out some good little starch right here that I might be able to graft onto later. Unfortunately, I don't know what kind of rootstock this is. More than likely it's a trifoliate. I just don't know what kind. If it's gonna be a dwarfing or a full size, and that's kind of important. And I already know that my previous Owari Satsuma over here and the Brown Select Satsuma over here, that's a rubido, which is a dwarfing rootstock. And this one over here is, I can never remember the name of it. It starts with a C. It's not a dwarfing rootstock, it's a full size, big orange tree, or the rootstock is anyway. If I can find it, I'll try and put it down below for what that is. So let's, for now, let's just put that right there. Yeah, let's hear the Methley plum. You know what? I am gonna put that right back where I had the old one, just because it was a good spot, but I planted it wrong. I planted it way too deep, which was just fine until, you know, it rained. And that might need a little bit of site prep. But you can see how sunk in that spot is right there. I just planted that way too low. Yeah, let's hear that's a damselfly, I think. It's pretty cool. He's letting me get really close to him. Well, he was. Let's see here, let's do the mint next. We know exactly where we're going with the mint. Mint Hill. And it should be no wonder why it's called Mint Hill, because it's literally a hill that I made covered in mint. Not sure if I got this one on a different video, but this is apple mint right here, which smells really good. It's got this nice big floppy leaf, and it's just a very, I don't know, light mint smell. I like it. That's all that matters. What worries me is that I've got all these other seeds popping up here, and I don't know what those are. That's probably another mint. That's another mint. I don't know what that is. But these are gonna go about right here and right over here on either side of the little lizard house we got going. If you haven't seen the lizard house video, make sure you check that out. Okay, still got a Satsuma. All right, the Owari Satsuma. We're gonna have to trim this off a little bit, maybe later on in the year. Definitely got to get all these fruits off though. And it's gonna go right here by this stake. Let's see here, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, I still got 2 more stakes here. There's gonna be a peach tree that goes in right here, and another thing that I can't remember right here. Those are kind of close. Why are those so close? Or was I just thinking about planting too many things all at once? That's entirely possible. Now eventually I want to be able to put the sugar canes back here by the fence where the grapes are. Mostly because I don't think I'm gonna like the grapes, so they can probably go. But I don't know yet. So I'm gonna need to put them someplace else for a couple years, which is kind of okay because sugarcane has to get replanted about every 3 years anyway. I know what I'll do. I'll put them up here nice and close. This way I can keep an eye on them. And I'll put these 2 guys right up here up front where I'm gonna put my little garden space area eventually. Let's see here. Let's go with like right here. That should be good. Let's see here. Let's put the red about here and Mr. Cinco over here. I'm trying to think, is it like Don number 5, Don Cinco? Or is it more like, you know, the Don number 5, Don Cinco. My accent is horrible. The last Don. Master P? Yeah, I think that's Master P. That takes you back. So yeah, I just put those in a nice little, we're gonna call that a line, because eventually I want to make this like a little alcove kind of swoopy thing around here. Let's grab this rhubarb. Victoria rhubarb. Yeah, eventually I want to make like a little carve out, cut out area to walk back in here, have this all walled off, so then there's a little walk path back here. Kind of going like around the little garden space I got going on. Yeah, I know, it doesn't really look like a garden. It looks more like a lumberjack area. I'm busy, I got things going on. And sadly, it's also become a rabbit burial ground. Don't ask why it's so disturbed in so many areas. Blame it on the Greyhound. All right, let's see here. Let's put the rhubarb just back over here somewhere. Let's just put it out of the way. If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, oh well. There we go. Some, that might be awapui right there. And some garlic and the grapes. It's a good spot. Got a few weeds. Check out my future how I handle weeds video. We'll call this a little teaser roll. I put tarps down right here. Helps control the weeds. I talk more about that in a different video. That has yet to be filmed. Give me a few days, a week, maybe 3. Subscribe to the channel and you'll know when it comes. Okay, let's start off with the easy one. This one's already got the hole dug. Well, for the most part, it might have fallen in a little bit, but in my usual fashion, especially since as deep as these are, and I know that right about here, I've got a little drainage ditch underneath, which means if I dug down enough, right about, let me look here, if I plant this here, yeah, it's gonna be sitting right here in the center. There's gonna be a log right under there, and it's pretty deep too. That's how I make sure that any of the neighbor's water that runs off hits that ditch and goes around to the drainage. Ooh, I about got a blueberry right there, ready to go. I'll taste that one later. Dirt, I need dirt. I really do need to figure out how to get Jungle Growth to sponsor some of these videos, because with as much of this stuff as I use, I could definitely use some free product for some promos, you know? I'm just gonna lightly fill this hole a little bit, push some of this out to the side, but this way, because I know that that's hard pack, like a sandy clay right underneath it, and it's not gonna drain very well, but it's got a nice little slope right there, and it's pretty sharp to right there. Give this a little hug, flip it upside down, and it just lifts right off. Oh, that's perfect. That is right to the same level as the wood chips. Give this a little bit of a backfill. That should be good, and the wood chips can go right back over. And when you've got 10 inches of wood chips, it's just that easy. I do feel a little bit bad though. These little white threads right here, that's the mycelial fungus. That's the hyphae, I think it's called, of the fungus network. It's a little dried out, but that's what you want to see in your soil, because that's what takes water and nutrients from one plant to another, and this helps break down the wood chips, all kinds of good stuff. All right, let's put this guy back. Let's see here, what should we do next? Yeah, we got the lime right here. Let's do that next. Now, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to destroy that. It's a good viable rootstock too. I feel bad destroying it, but oh well, I don't know what it is. And these sticks, if you ever get a chance to just put them through, let's see how deep these wood chips are. Okay, these wood chips might be a little deep right here. Yeah, that's the soil. That's the wood chips. I'm gonna say that's about 14 inches. Thought I was joking when I said 10 inches of wood chips. Anyway, let me get my cool shovel. It's gonna help me pop this thing right out. I thought that is kind of loose. I don't feel like messing up my back though, or messing up my back more. This is my lightly modified root slayer shovel. Very good shovel if you need to pull up some plant roots. It has what looks like a chisel at the front, and this is a nice thick gauge metal too. I'm just gonna lightly set this thing in. A little bit of pressure from a boot. And it looks like I missed a root. And I missed another root. Yep, that's it. That is all it takes. And those are some really good looking healthy roots that I just chopped through. I bet you this thing would still grow if I planted it. Yeah, it's just a shame. Oh well. The good news is I know that there's a huge pile. I think there's about 2 bags, maybe 3 bags of jungle growth that went into this hole because I really wanted that tree to survive and I wanted it to be super healthy for it. There's nothing wrong with the soil, the spot, nothing. It just happened to be a crap year. So all I really have to do is this one, give the pot a little hug, flip it upside down. Wow, that is a lot of roots. And I'm going to tease these roots out a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Might be hard to see, but this thing is quite root bound. So I'm just gonna walk these roots around in my hands, just let all this dirt fall off. Give it a good shake. There we go. See how wide those roots are now spread instead of being wrapped around the pot? Because eventually those would end up choking each other off. Let's see if I can get a few more of these knocked loose. Now what I can do, let me bring you in close here. Now what I can do with this tap root, because this is probably a grafted tree. So this was just a branch, and they probably went through and put a bunch of little graft spots on the same branch, made multiple trees out of it. I'm not sure if you can hopefully see that cut right there on there. So that was probably the base of another rootstock, the base of another grafting that they did right there. And then on this one here, what would essentially be the tap root of the tree. It's now right there in the center. And now I can spread these roots out, flatten them out a bit, make it look more like this maybe? Yeah, that looks good. But this way the roots aren't coming around here, because the worst thing that you want to have happen is from your roots going around the pot like that this was, and then continuing to grow. And what ends up happening is it chokes off your tree and it strangles the tree. You got 3, maybe 5 years worth of growth, and then your tree dies. That's why it's sometimes very important, if you've got roots wrapping around a pot, to just let them out. Perfectly okay. This thing's gonna survive now. Survive better even. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant this thing in the ground, just like, yeah, just like that. This allows me to spread out the roots a bit. I can actually dig a little channel right here, put those over there, get some of this other dirt there. Kind of stands up. Dirt, where I put my dirt. Get my jungle growth here, and just top it up. There we go, that's probably more than plenty. When I water that, it'll settle out. Go ahead and move my wood chips back. And there we go. Oh, if you haven't seen my video on how to make plant tags, I'll be making plant tags for all these too. I'll see if I can put that up at the top corner. But don't watch it now, watch it later. It'll be one of the videos at the very end that you can click on and go to next, if I can remember. We'll try. All right, next, let's do the mulberry. Now the mulberry, that is gonna take a lot of dirt. My back's hurting just thinking about how much I'm gonna have to dig that thing out. And the other thing is I gotta make sure, because that way is north, I gotta make sure that when the sun comes up and sets, that my lime tree there gets morning sun and evening sun, but it'll get shade then from this mulberry eventually when it grows up. It'll get some shade in the middle of the day, so it doesn't get scorched. So let me think about this, see if that's the best place to put it. Thinking music. I think I'm gonna do something that I'm gonna call questionable at best. This may be one of those experiments that I can just see what happens. So I've got the Persian lime here. I've got the Rubidoux rootstock growing right here. That's what Brown Select Satsuma was growing on. And eventually I'm gonna be grafting different things to that rootstock, or to that trunk, really. I'm gonna let it grow up about 2-3 feet. That way it gets up above the lower cold areas. See about grafting mandarins or something crazy like that onto it. I'm gonna put it about right here. And what's gonna be questionable about this is, I know just by looking at Mint Hill over here and the fence over there, that this is going to be rather deep. We already know that this is about 10 inches of wood chips. Yeah, that's no less. That's probably more. No, wait, that was like 14 inches over there, wasn't it? This is probably like 16. The reason it's questionable is I'm only gonna dig down maybe a foot or two, plant that in there with a bunch of jungle growth around it, and then see what happens. Those wood chips will eventually compress. It'll make some nice humus. Which one is it that you eat and which one's the soil? Hummus? Hummus you eat, humus. That's what it'll make. But since these wood chips are at least a year old at this point, I don't think they'll rob much of the nitrogen from it. That's a love bug. Ugh, hate love bugs. Yeah, I'm just gonna dig this down about a foot, fill it up with jungle growth, and just call it good. Because eventually, all these wood chips will break down. Let's go with about there. Let me bring you in here close so you can see this. So this is a garden rake. I'm gonna go down about, we'll call it a third of a garden rake. And there's still wood chips down there. Lots of wood chips. This whole hill right here, I know it's hard to see it that it's a hill, but it's a hill. That's about a 3-foot hill, or it was anyway. It's compressed a little bit. Let's say it's about a 2.5-foot hill. So I'm just gonna take my little tree there, set it on top of that, what's left of the wood chips there, maybe round that out just a little bit more, put a bunch of jungle growth in there with it, and then I'm gonna call that good. And I'm just gonna see what happens. And I'm trying to set the camera up right here, so you can hopefully kind of try and see the elevation difference here with my little faux retaining wall. That is all wood chips. That's ground level over there. That's ground level. How high is this? Your guess is probably about as good as mine, but I'm gonna trust my stick and say at least 14 inches of wood chips right here. That's a lot of wood chips. So I'll just go ahead and give my pot a little hug. 1 gallon mulberry. That's all I got on this one. There was a tag that used to be on here, it said dwarf everbearing, or it might have been a different plant. I'm pretty sure this is a dwarf. Really hope it's a dwarf. If this is a full-size tree, mulberries get big. And just like the other one, we're gonna have to tease this a bit. Those roots are absolutely locked in there. Hopefully I can tease these things apart. This may have been in the pot a bit long. And by a bit, I mean a lot of bit. All right, so I'm just gonna have to rip some of these roots out. Sorry, mulberry tree, but I don't want you to kill yourself, strangle yourself. I'm just gonna get in here and be a bit violent. It'll be fine, I hope. Everything's an experiment. Wow, that's a thick one. Check out that root right there. That's a good root. All right, at least got the bottom of it busted up a good bit. So some of these roots can get out here and feel out a bit. Let me get these 3 big ones, go off in different directions. That should be good enough. And then this guy gets about its own bag, almost a bag. But yeah, that's still right at the wood chip level. So when we cover this back up, it might seem a little moundy, but that's all right because I'm gonna be filling that back in as well. And there's another one. Done. What's the next closest thing? The methyl plum. I don't know what kind of weed this is, but I really don't like this stuff. It's some nasty stuff. But once all this stuff dries out a bit, gotta make sure we don't give it anything to root into. Let it dry out a bit. All that can go on a mint hill. Even if it does start growing, then that mint will choke it out. And I'm pretty sure any roots they get left in here, they'll keep growing. Okay, now they got all those weeds out of there. See, that thing needs to get dug in. That's gonna be a hole. Got a shovel right here. It'll work. This isn't really the kind of shovel that you want to be digging a hole with, but this is some pretty soft stuff. This might be almost all wood chips too. Holy cow. This is crazy to see just how far these wood chips go down and then what it's done to the soil in the process. I gotta bring you in close here again, sorry. So it used to be a heavy clay, compacted, thick soil. These are all wood chips. That is a lot of wood chips going way down there. That's a lot of wood chips. Ooh. And hey, don't forget, earthworm Jim there. Ooh, This guy is really working for a subscription. Subscriptions make him wiggle. Wow, that is one very active worm. So yeah, Earthworm Jim, he wants you to subscribe. There you go, it's not so bad on my glove. Here, let me set you over here. There you go, Jimmy. He still says subscribe. So all the way down here. There you go, Jimmy. Have some of that. There's finally some clay. So that is a lot of humic matter between the clay. Hopefully you can see it down there. Between the clay and the humic matter from all the wood chips that have been sitting here. And those are pretty well broken down. It's only been about a year or so, but it's teeming with life. Kinds of little creepy crawlers down here. Anyway, I'm not gonna be putting this thing that deep in the hole, so I'm gonna fill some of it back in because it only needs to be about half of that deep. I don't even think it needs to be, it can go ahead and sit about right there for the soil level, and I'll backfill it with jungle growth. Because what I did the last time is I ended up planting this down way deeper than what it should have been. I think the last time I ended up planting it about yay deep and then putting another 6-8 inches of wood chips on top of it, which then decomposed and compressed. That combined with all the water that we got from the rain, I'm pretty sure that's why it died. It drowned. That was my bad. All right, so I'm gonna backfill about half of this hole. That should be good. And I'm just gonna leave the rest of this sitting here because I need to call up Chip Drop. Not really call him up. I got a guy. Get this built up, especially Mint Hill. Mint Hill definitely needs to be built up a good bit more. Can't really give this a hug too well, but I can definitely bash it inside. Should never lift out by the trunk. That should be good. That's sure I said about right there. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, maybe backfill this just a little bit. Pull this back. But I'm gonna have to cover this up with some fresh wood chips. Let's give it the rest of that jungle growth. And I intentionally didn't really point this thing in any one direction because I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with this tree just yet. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave it kind of about like that for now. Gotta get another bag of jungle growth. I'm gonna go back through here and do kind of like what I did with the other tree, with the exception of instead of taking this main leader right here and bending it sideways like what I did with the previous tree in this spot to make the wine glass, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is doing this correctly. I'm gonna find the top branch that I wanna keep, which will probably be this one right here, maybe this one. No, this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up trimming this thing off about right here and just clipping this whole branch off right here so that it puts all of its growth into side branches so that I can make that little wine glass shape. But that is going to be on a different day because I want to get this thing in the ground, get it growing, get it healthy, and then I'll chop its head off. On to the next one. No, I didn't forget. I'll top this guy off. That should be enough. Spread this out just a little bit. Oh, that looks beautiful. All right. Don't die. Now I'm gonna go on to the Owari Satsuma, which before I do much of anything, how deep is it here? This can't be as deep. Nah, we're only about maybe 6 or 8 inches. Oh, whoa, don't do that. So these, I keep these up in the yard for dragonflies to land on so they can go hunting. So let's just set this right there, looks good. But then the dragonflies can land on top of here, survey the area, find the other bugs they want to eat, and just gives them a nice little perch, something to land on. Ah, I feel bad about that. I'll just keep tossing that until eventually it'll make it to the wood pile. Ooh, a blueberry. And that one's not sour. That was good. Okay, on to planting. I'm trying to think about where I want to put this. I want to center this in between the blueberries, but I don't want it to be too close to the plum or the peach. And I don't want it to shade out the fig very much either. But this will definitely take a lot longer to grow up. And that fig, it'll spring back up every year and get a lot bigger than this thing will probably ever get eventually. Let's see, right about here. This about looks good. Oh, I got something in my eye. You know what it kind of feels like? Oh yeah, it was a finger. I had a finger in my eye. Craziest thing. Oh yeah, this is definitely not as deep as the other one. Looky here. Earthworm Jim came to visit us again. Uh-oh, subscriptions must be going down. He's very calm. He still wants you to subscribe though. It'll make him wiggle. There you go, buddy. Yes, this is definitely not as deep as that over there. At 4 to 6 inches, that really is about all it's gonna get. Let's see if I can measure. Yeah, that's barely longer than my fingers. Definitely not as deep as what I was hoping. But that's also a good thing because that means that it's breaking down. It's turning into the good stuff. And this one just lifts right out. Wow. I didn't even have to give that one a little love punch on the sides. Ooh, I am gonna have to break apart these roots though and try and comb these things down just a bit. One thing I don't like to see is roots when they're starting to wrap circles around Get these things teased out just a little bit. Some of them are breaking, but not many. There we go. See if I can get some of these to spread out a bit. And that is gonna have to sit up a wee bit high. But that's better than it being too low and have it getting waterlogged. What are the chances that you'll stand up? Holy cow. Do not breeze. Hopefully give it some stabilizing jungle growth and a little bit more on this side right here. I'm just gonna give it the rest of the bag. It can have it. It can take it. Give this a little bit of a mound up. And yes, I am intentionally leaving a lot of these roots exposed because I want this thing to be able to breathe. Replace the wood chips, which again, like I said, I need to call up my guy. Have him drop off some more wood chips, give it a few inches all around. Probably gonna need about 5 dump truck loads at this place. I sincerely hope not. But there we go. One last bit of business to do. This is what I'm gonna call the dirty business. It's the one part that I absolutely hate doing, besides touching a nasty glove. Every single one of these fruits have got to come off. Oh, they smell delicious though. And some of these, like these are some good sized fruits starting to form, but I do not want this thing to focus on giving me fruit this year at least, maybe next year. Every single one of these, oh man, this is, oh, it's horrible. Every single one of these, gotta go. It's like a Band-Aid, you just gotta rip it off. Oh man, that was a lot of them. Make sure I got them all. Don't want any more popping up. But while it is very painful to be ripping all these things off, this means that now the tree doesn't have to focus on fruit development and seeds and all the rest of it. Man, that's a lot of them. I'll let you hit pause and tell me how many of those are. But this way, the tree's not gonna be focused on producing seeds and fruit and all the rest of that. It's gonna be focused on growing out green, getting the branches and the leaves going, establishing good roots. And then that means that I'll get better fruit next year, the year after, and probably all the rest of the years. Oh, missed one. It kind of rolled away. So yeah, had to rip off that many. Oh, it hurts. What do we have next? Ooh, sweet. I'm never gonna get over that. I'm gonna keep running that joke into the ground. Now, from what I've read and learned about sugarcane, it's somewhat conflicting at times. Many of the sources online have told me that it doesn't like heavy clay soils, it doesn't like to be waterlogged. It can only stay waterlogged for maybe a week or two. And then another story that I was reading from, I think it was Trinidad, said that a lot of the places where they were effectively growing were between 55 and 80% clay, and that's where they got their best yields. So I'm a little conflicted. I know that this area is kind of low-lying. There's a lot of moisture that likes to just sit here, and that's what another one of the sources online told me, was that sugarcane is a very water-hungry plant. It likes heat, it likes a lot of water, and kind of like bananas, it's very nutrient hungry. So what I think I'm gonna do is just kind of form a little line right here with my fig tree, plant a couple of these sugar canes, and because I know that this area does like to hold a little bit of water, it's like there's a little sunken area right in here, which is why I've got my fig tree over here, you know, planted above ground just a little bit. That way it can feel for the water when it needs it and keep its roots out of it to breathe. What I'm gonna do with this is plant it right at the same soil level that I do most everything else. Just move the wood chips out, put the sugar cane in, backfill it with some jungle growth, cover it with the wood chips, and I'm just gonna see how well it grows in this area, because I know the soil that's under here, I wouldn't have to dig down even right now more than 2 or 3 inches to just get wet, mucky clay soil. I'm trying to think even how deep these wood chips are gonna be right here. The top layer that's got a lot of fungal growth, kinda, that's a nice way to put this. Crusty, hard, something like that. Yep, that's about as deep as I'm gonna go. Any deeper, I'm definitely gonna hit mucky mud. So again, that's only about maybe 4 or 5 inches, and then it's going to hit some very mucky stuff. And just for fun, I'm going to actually dig down. Yep, and then there's that nice sandy clay gunk. Very wet and very sandy. That's almost straight sand. That's not even clay sand, that's just sand. There is some clay in there though. It's got some structure. But these wood chips down here at the bottom, fairly well broken down or getting there. Cool thing about the stuff from So Exotic, you just plant it in their coconut coir pot thing they got going, and then I can just backfill this with some jungle growth and call it good. Try and give this first one about half the bag. That way the other one can have the other half of the bag. And this is the Don Cinco right here. Hopefully he's not the last Don. I'm sorry, horrible accent. My bad. There we go, that should be about half the bag. Spread it around lovingly. Backfill. And yeah, this is just some very crunchy, like it's actually matted and yeah, very crunchy. That is where the fungal layer is though. Cover this guy back up and break apart some of these fungals. Maybe pull that away from it just a little bit. And hopefully that grows up nice and big so that I can then lay it down, chop it up into little pieces, lay it down back over by the fence, and then get a row of Don Cinco and the Florida Red. Let's get Florida Red in. The way I understand these is the Florida Red is gonna be the good eating variety. So that's gonna be more of the variety that you chop up and actually physically eat, spit out the pulp. And the Don Cinco over there, that's gonna be the juicing variety. That's gonna be the one that you chop up and then run it through a press and get your sugarcane juice out of, which is then also what the Domino Sugar Company and maybe a couple others, they use that, or that kind anyway, to make Domino sugar, or like the pure cane sugar, the best kind of sugar. And of course, one of my hopes is to be able to use these sugars in different recipes and be able to make some syrups, some like fruit syrups for, say, some pancakes or waffles. And something that I might have to do either on this channel or on my other channel, I might drop the link in there in the description over to that channel so you can see what I do over there. It's mostly about stuff I do in my garage, but a good video for that channel would be making a sugarcane press. I do some welding and other metalworking projects on that channel, and a good video for that channel would be making a sugarcane press that I can then bring over to this channel and make sugarcane and give it a drinky try. And I'm just realizing that my fig tree over here is giving me figs for the first time. I wasn't really planning on making this video super duper long. It's getting pretty long though. Bear with me though, because I've got some new figgies growing right here, right here, right there. Probably one right there too. And up here, yay. So I should have some good figs by about, what do you think, September-ish? August, September? Yeah, should have some figs by then. Well, thanks for coming along on this little trip with me. Make sure you keep those thumbs green, pests away, and know that you are appreciated. And I'm seeing I've got all kinds of videos I need to be making. Still got one for the bird pole, got one for mint, got one for blackberries. Pretty sure I got the strawberry one done finally. And the lizard houses. If you haven't seen the lizard house video, check that one out too. We got lizard houses.